I begin with an apology because though I had initially thought of spending the whole afternoon here and meeting all of you at leisure, exchanging ideas, getting to know you, certain commitments have come up in India, as a result of which I am taking a flight at 7 o'clock today and need to rush back to get to Schiphol Airport on time. But let me congratulate the FCCI for this initiative, for bringing everybody together, for inviting me and greeting me, for hosting a reception in my honor, in the honor of I thank all of you on behalf of my wife too. And I have to say that Mr. Lakina and Mr. Jasbir Singh were one of the first visitors to my office after I took charge. They came and briefed me about the FCCI. They told me about what their plans were. And despite all the busy period I was going through at that point of time preparing for our Prime Minister's visit, I agreed immediately to be part of this discussion and to attend this function. I would also say that I am particularly grateful and appreciative of Mr. Lakina, whom I believe is a founding father of this organization and many other organizations here. Because throughout the preparations for the Prime Minister's visit, he was one person who repeatedly called me, asked me whether we needed any help, whether we needed any support. He tried to mobilize some resources from the community. We did not ultimately need to use it. He sort of bounced off ideas, he listened to my ideas and tried to support us in any way. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakina, and honestly, I thank him on behalf of all of you, because this is the kind of support that the embassy needs, not just when a Prime Minister comes to India, but at all times. But having said that, let me also thank Dr. Subramaniam for setting the context by highlighting two important points with reference to what Mr. Lakina had said in his PowerPoint presentation. One, it is true that India's demography is going to be one of its biggest assets. This is a reality which has been known in India for 10 years or 15 years now. And if you look at any speech made by our President, our Prime Minister, any major policy makers, you will find acute awareness of not just the fact that we have this huge opportunity in terms of our demographic dividend, but also realization of the dangers that if we do not adequately tap this demographic dividend, it can turn into a demographic bomb or a demographic disaster, as in many Arab countries, with the youth turning against the government, being responsible for social disharmony and unrest, rather than contributing to overall harmony, economic growth and progress of the nation. So there is within India acute awareness of the importance of the demographic dividend. Our Prime Minister has repeatedly talked about the 3 Ds, which he thinks defines India and are key to our success in the future. It is democracy, it is demand, and it is demography. But having said that, what is the key ingredient that India needs to be able to tap this demographic dividend? It is skill development. We have to be able to train our people in the needs of modern societies in order to be able to equip them to provide services and products that are relevant for today's world. And skill development is a very complex process which is closely linked to demand within India as well as demand outside, and a rapidly changing society where every second new products are coming into the market, technology is being used, new services are being produced, and also a global market. Tom Friedman wrote about the world being flat in 2005. It is 12 years now. Bill Gates wrote about business at the speed of thought in 1999. So in the last 2 decades, the world has been changing so rapidly, technology has been progressing so exponentially, that there is only one truth left, that not only is change going to happen, but the pace of that change is going to happen more and more. The pace will increase, it will become faster and faster. And under this circumstance, It is no longer human beings. You are having jobs. What is the big crisis, economic crisis in the US? What is the economic crisis in Europe? Jobs do not exist. Jobs are vanishing. It is a reality even in India. The economy is growing, but jobs are not growing. And jobs are increasingly being taken by robots. Human beings are being replaced by artificial intelligence. So this is the world into which we are moving. And there must be a recognition and understanding of this world and how we are going to respond to it. Our young people need to be educated and trained in a manner we have never seen it before, the world has not seen it before. And this is a challenge which confronts every society. Because our numbers are larger, the problem is even bigger for all of us. And every single child, every single student has to be educated to learn, to relearn, a point which Dr. Subramaniam emphasized. They have to be learned to adapt. They have to learn to work in the global marketplace. They have to learn, they have to be taught to acquire skills which they have never had before, to change jobs where required. If one industry goes out of fashion, to shift completely to an industry. So the whole world is going through a very complex phase which does not permit simple definitions, simple equations. And in any discussion of Europe taking advantage of India's demographic dividend, or India trying to use its demographic dividend to have a mass migration program towards Europe, as very rightly pointed out by Dr. Subramaniam, the biggest hindrance and the biggest obstacle is politics in Europe. And politics not just in Europe, politics across the Western world. All of you are here as members, valuable members of this community for many, many years. Many of you, if not most of you, are probably Dutch citizens. You speak Dutch, you vote in elections here, you contribute, you pay taxes, you contribute to this economy. Each one of you has a role to play, must have an understanding of the politics of this country, and must also try and contribute to the politics of that country, through which we can see how both benefit. India does not seek from any country in the world one-sided benefits. The age has long passed when India was dependent on handouts, when we waited for ships to come to our ports with food so that we could feed our people. That day is gone. All we seek is two-way relationships. We want win-win relationships. Of course, we will do something if it brings benefit to our country, but we are very keen any sustainable relationship should bring benefit to the other partner too. So all India talks about is win-win relationship. If today there are 200 Dutch companies investing in India and working in India, there are 200 Indian companies investing in Netherlands and working in Netherlands. There are companies across Europe, across the US. India is one of the largest investors in UK, contributing huge amounts of jobs to that economy. In every interaction with business or government in Netherlands, we put across the point that Indian companies, Indian people are here, and if you bring more Indian talent to this country, your competitiveness will improve vis-a-vis other countries, vis-a-vis other companies. We are here to help you become even better at what you do. We are here to help you become world beaters. Therefore, to go back to demographic dividend, if India has to harness its demographic dividend, if all of you gathered here would like to help India harness that demographic dividend, I would say, please also pay attention to what happens in this country. Dr. Subramaniam referred to the debate on refugees. Refugees is one issue, but there is a larger debate on multiculturalism. There's a larger debate on pluralism. What is the nature of the society? Where should the society go? And there are different political parties here. There are different views. There are different ideas. This is a wonderful democratic society. And for those who are, I think, and even an Indian citizen has the freedom to express his views here. And for those who are Dutch citizens, please participate in this debate. Please contribute to this debate. Please engage and tell people here how India and Netherlands can work together, how we can benefit, or this country and this society can benefit by more Indian talent coming here, and how by combining, Netherlands is a country of 17 million people. India is a country of 1.25 billion people, which is growing at a rate of 7.1%. The kind of opportunities that exist in India, few countries in the world have to offer. Yes, there is China, but China is already peaking in terms of its economic growth. India is starting in many sectors. There are huge opportunities for the people of Netherlands, for the country of Netherlands, for the companies in Netherlands, for the government of Netherlands in India. And there are huge opportunities. As a small country, India can bring the value addition to Netherlands, which will enable Netherlands, which already is a world beater in many fields, to truly rise to the top of the world table in every sector possible. And India is ready, India is willing, and we are committed to do this for Netherlands if we can work in partnership. So the whole demographic dividend debate has two sides to it. You know, once again, I think all of you who are living abroad, you value your connections with India, you come to India, you meet people, but you must also realize how debate and discussion in India is evolving. Nobody likes somebody sitting abroad and lecturing them from a pulpit. You know, you should do this, you should do that, the government should do this, the government should do that. We have enough economists within our country. We have enough institutes engaged in demographic studies. We have a Niti Aayog. We have excellent ministers, excellent political leaders, excellent chief ministers, all of whom are acutely aware of the problems, of the challenges, and trying to do their best. Besides, we have, it is not just diaspora from here, but we have diaspora from across the world who's contributing our scholars in Stanford, in MIT, in Harvard, in Oxford, equally as much as the best scholars from the best universities here are contributing ideas, are contributing proposals, or are trying to tell the people in India and the leaders and policymakers in India what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. But rather than lecture from a pulpit to the people of India or to the policymakers of India, why does an organization like FCCI not see what it can do within this country? How can it influence decisions? When you say Foundation for Critical Choices for India, let the definition not be narrow. Let it not mean we will tell India what decisions it should take, but let it mean what decisions can we take in support of India. You, as an NRI community, as an overseas Indian community, as an expatriate community, how can you, all of you I know, want the best for India, want India to do better. If India does well, you do well. If you do well, India gets me. It is a mutually supportive relationship. So there is no question as to your good intentions. But in trying to actualize these good intentions, let us work together. Work in harmony with the government of India. Work in harmony with the scholars of India, with the thinkers of India, with the policymakers of India. And please be acutely aware that there are two sides to this coin. And if India has to progress, there has to be more trade. If India has to progress, there has to be more investment. If with a country of such large population, and all of you being the best examples of our world-class human resources, our people need freedom to move. We need barriers on movement to be reduced across the world. We need easier visa regimes across the world. And because we ourselves are for centuries a great pluralistic society, a multicultural society, this is in our ethos. Wherever we go, we take a couple of, several languages, several religions, several ways of eating food, several ways of dress, several forms of music. So pluralism is a value which is ingrained in every Indian, and this is something we must take it to every society, and we must strongly stand and advocate these principles in societies where we live. So please, FCCI, thank you for the wonderful work you're doing, but let us go, let us work together. Let us redefine what would be of great support to India. Rather than tell us how to handle the demographic challenge within the country, let us look at how can it be addressed within Europe as well as in India. What are the critical decisions, or what is the role that you as a community can play? With all your resources, all your education, all your talent, and the numbers that you have, in influencing decisions in this society which would help India take full advantage of the demographic dividend. And here let me also say that I, in all humility, am not a demographer, I am not an economist. I am a student of political science and international relations. And as a career diplomat for the last 31 years, I have seen and interacted with overseas Indian communities across the world. And here my humble submission is, please let us start local. Where is your value addition the maximum? How can, in that field of value addition, you do things which is a benefit to you, that you feel proud of, you have a sense of achievement, you have a sense of contribution to India, and we in India benefit. In the discussions and in the list of topics that was mentioned, I think there was a reference saying to the Suriname Hindustani community, and we have the chairman of the Lala Rook Foundation here with us. And it said, okay, once a year we do something for the Hindustani community. I do not know how many of you were here when the Prime Minister spoke in the city of Hague on June 27th. But the one point he emphasized, and that one point which we all believe in, is, for God's sake, stop this distinction between Hindustani community and Indian community. There is only one Indian community. There is only one diaspora. It is irrelevant what the color of the passport is. It is irrelevant whether somebody is a Dutch citizen or an Indian citizen, whether their ancestors migrated 150 years back or 5 years back. Let us think India. We are all Indians, and collectively the Hindustani community is the pride of India. And they are an integral part of India, so it is not one. Let everything to do with Hindustani community infuse all the activities of not just FCCI, but every organization, every Indian NRI or overseas Indian organization here in the Netherlands. When I'm 21 days old in this city. And if I say, I may make mistakes, I may say things out of ignorance because I have not come across it, I have not been told about it. But honestly, I am yet to see one book which in English tells me what the Surinamese Hindustani community is all about. I'm yet to find, in my home state of Kerala, somebody has been enterprising enough to create a wonderful website. Please, I recommend all of you to go and see it, called The Dutch in Kerala, which gives wonderful descriptions of the history, of the monuments, of the culture which the Dutch brought with them, the fusion which has been created in Kerala. He's trying to educate the people of Kerala on what the Dutch contributed in the mid-17th century. Can the FCCI create a website in English, in Dutch, and if possible in Hindi, which highlights the contributions of the entire Indian community in the Netherlands to the Netherlands, starting with the Hindustani community, with their contributions, their history, the saga of their achievements, their political leaders, their activities, whether in the field of academics or in the business. Can we look at how, a point I mentioned earlier, Indian companies and Indian talent is adding to the competitiveness of Netherlands? Can we, just like somebody in Kerala is trying to educate them about the Dutch in Kerala, can we, as the overseas Indian community, educate people in the Netherlands in Dutch on the history of India-Netherlands relations? I find, in fact, it came as a very big surprise to me that the history, the Dutch history in many parts of India is still remembered. And it's remembered, the memories are very different from what, or the colonial experience was very different from the Portuguese or from the British. And the Dutch do not have a strongly negative impression on any Indian. But here the people of Netherlands have gone far beyond. The Dutch East India Company is a blip in the history books. In modern day contemporary politics, history doesn't figure more prominently. They are focused on European affairs. They are focused on their future. How can we use the history of our connections to create a sentiment within the people of Netherlands that will ignite their curiosity about their past vis-a-vis India, which is where we are concerned, which will lead to people-to-people exchanges, which will lead to exchanges in the field of tourism, and going on, lead to business and economic and commercial activities that will strengthen both our countries. Can we look at, the Prime Minister was here, he met the Prime Minister of Netherlands, he met senior officials of the government, he had a round table with about 15 top CEOs of Netherlands, he met the King, he met the Queen. One sentiment ran through all these meetings. There are the areas where Netherlands has its strengths, are the areas where India has its maximum needs. How do we combine the two? We are talking about demographic dividend. In how many areas of skill development can Netherlands contribute? Which sectors in the Netherlands economy can be profitably used by young Indians for the future? And how can the overseas Indian community, how can the organizations here not just do academic studies on it, but actually handhold and shepherd the whole process? Can the Indian community here pool resources, create one skill development institute in any part of India, which will not only train young people, but which will guarantee them jobs after the training, either in India or in Netherlands or anywhere in the world? Can you identify sectors, experts, institutions? Netherlands has wonderful institutions in every field of its strength, whether it be water, whether it be renewable energy, whether it be ports, whether it be logistics, inland waterways, you name it, agriculture, food processing. In every one of these areas, it is possible to create skill development institutes. You, as the Indian community in Netherlands, can take the lead in bringing the talent together, in pooling resources, in harmonizing with the government's objectives, and in actually making a huge improvement in the quality of life of young people in India. So I could go on, and I think this is just the beginning of a conversation. Let me conclude with just two thoughts. One, within our embassy, we had a little discussion a few days back after the Prime Minister's visit on what all we should do in the future, and we, with our limited resources and limited manpower, will try and do our best, and we hope you as members of the Indian community will strongly stand by us in everything that we do for the betterment of India-Netherlands relationship. But so one of the ideas which came up was on Gandhi Jayanti, on October 2nd, which is coming up, which is the birthday of Mahatma Gandhiji, which is also today declared by the UN as the International Day of Non-Violence. Well, I think the clapping is a little premature because, yes, we all know Mahatma Gandhi is a great man. There are, I'm told, more streets named after Mahatma Gandhi in this country than any country in the world. There are probably more busts of Mahatma Gandhi than any country in the world. Can we take this one step forward? Can everybody gathered here and whoever else we can harness, unite together to create a mass movement whereby individuals go to schools, to colleges in the Netherlands where we have Dutch students, where Dutch is the main language, and talk to them about Mahatma Gandhi. Educate them about Mahatma Gandhi, have discussions about Mahatma Gandhi. Can Gandhi Jayanti be marked in a manner it is not marked in any other country of the world? I leave this thought with you. I await your feedback and we shall continue to discuss. We have time till October 2nd. And lastly, let me just say that there were references to this 21st century belonging to India. The 21st century can belong to India if we in India, whether within the country or outside, can truly live up to our full potential. India can rise to the leadership of the world, to the highest, to the ranks of the biggest and the most powerful and the strongest and the most influential countries in the world, if we can pool our resources, if we can act in harmony, if we can understand each other, and if we can be focused in what we need to achieve. Within India, There are a huge number of flagship initiatives which has been launched by our Prime Minister. There is both tremendous dynamism as well as great determination and drive to take India to great heights. Please be partners in this process. Please join hands with the people of India, with the institutions in India, with anyone and everyone connected to India. Bring all your resources, all your talent, all your energy, so that we can truly take India to the great heights that we would all like to see her in. And when I say great heights, I do not mean military power. I do not mean political influence. I do not mean just economic strength. Economic strength and prosperity is important, but we can create an India where the poorest of the poor have the best quality of life possible, where education and health reaches every corner of the country, where the principles and values of Mahatma Gandhi is practiced every day in the lives of every Indian, and where we collectively, our philosophy has always been Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. We all know the song Sare, like we all sort of know what Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, this has been our mantra, by which we have always prayed for prosperity and welfare of the people of the world. Let us truly be global citizens who take the best values of India to the world, and in the process do good for ourselves, do good for our community, do good for the host country in which we live in, and for India. Thank you very much.